I'm Jocelyn, and I am 36. I have been bodybuilding now what feels like forever, but I think it's been going on 5 or 6 years. My first prep started in 2021, but I'm a mom, I'm a full-time employee, and a wife. I'm a person. Bottom line is that I think a lot of people think when you glorify one thing, you're different than other people. I'm just as much human as anybody else. Did bodybuilding choose me or did I choose bodybuilding? I feel like it's both, but I think it found me because I was in a weird headspace when I moved back from Chicago in 2024. Might be more, might be less, but I was like 200 pounds, just unhappy, just broke off an engagement, drove back in 36 hours. And yeah, I just was very unhappy. And I had a weight loss coach, an online weight loss coach, and she had got me down to a good weight, like was losing like 8 pounds a month. Like I dropped down, and then she started her first prep and it got me interested. And I was going to what used to, I think it might still be Gold's in Thousand Oaks. I'm not sure. It might have changed because I know the one down here did. But, and I started seeing more bodybuilders at the gym, and I was like, oh, what's this? And so kind of fell into it. So I would say it was like we met in the middle. And then after my first show, that was it. Like I fell in love with everything. The prep was horrible, but the show itself, like once you finally get there, it's so much more rewarding than, like you think about how you almost gave up and how you made it through because you're a part of that 1% that actually gets to the stage. Whereas some people will be a week out or a week and a half out or 2 weeks out and they don't even do it. So I think it's just, and then the people backstage, I've made friends I still talk to. And like I've made several friends that have now been my friends for 5, 6 years. I feel like it was just the first, like once I hit that stage, it's like nothing could touch me. Like I don't know how to explain that in a way that I guess the best way you could relate it to is like once you hit that stage, it's like all those hours of training, all those hours of cardio, blood, sweat, tears, like everything just, you go into like a separate cloud that's just for you. And I think it was just that moment of like, I hit the stage, I hit my posing, and it felt like that was my place. That was the place I was meant to be for that moment, for that brief little 15 seconds. It felt like, I don't want to say heaven because I don't know what that feels like, but to me that felt like a cloud 9 for myself. Just to do a show. The original goal was just to do a show and just see if I could. And I feel like a lot of people do think they can. Like there are several influencers that live out here that I have talked to that I'm friends with, and they're like, yeah, I couldn't do it. It was just the eating, like they love to eat. And I was like, food will always be there. And I think it comes down to, do you really want to do it, or do you just want to say you did it? I think it's different, for sure. What does a bodybuilder go through? I would say it's the pressure to do well, body dysmorphia, which everyone has nowadays, but it's a different level for us. I'm not saying it's greater or worse or indifferent. It's just different. We know our potential and where we can get our bodies to because we have pushed that beyond that threshold that most people are like, all right, I'm good. And once you hit that stage and you hit that body fat percentage, and then you get your feedback, and then you're like, okay, this is what I have to do, back to the drawing board. So you're constantly in the cycle of improving. Whereas I feel like other people are like, all right, this is where I'm at, and that's where I'm going to stay. And so I think it's just different pressures we place on ourselves. And we choose this life. This is not a choice by just, this is where you're stuck. It's a hobby, but we love it. And I would say the pressure is just, we put it on ourselves. It's always going to be the same answer of what I wish I knew is how much it costs. Because the cost is so significant. Like for women, I'm not saying men, because men it's different. I would say for men it's more about the food because men have to eat so much more. For women, hair, makeup, nails, like the usual stuff. But our suits can range anywhere from 600 to 1200, so it's a lot. And then obviously you have to get your NPC card, which originally I think it was 125. It's gone up to 150, 175. Entry of a show, how many classes you're going to do, that can range from 200 to 500 or 600. And then a national show is 400 just to enter. And then if you want to do multiple classes, it all adds up. And then hotel fee, gas, travel. And then obviously when you become a pro, that's even bigger because you're going to have to travel. That's a choice, but you don't have the entry fee of the show. So just how much it costs, which is what I wish it knew, but I think at this point I already know, and I don't really care because it's just like, all right, I know how to budget it in a way that I can do it. What I learned about myself was that I'm a lot stronger mentally than I gave myself credit for, and that emotionally I wasn't as intelligent as I thought I was. And physically, I'm significantly stronger than I thought I could ever be. But I think the best part about it is it helped me be a better mom, and it helped me be a better wife and a better friend, like just a better person in general, because of how much sacrificing I had to make in order to do it. So I would just say it's made me an all-around better person. I mean, the ultimate goal I would love to be on that Olympia stage. And I mean, I think no matter what I place, the fact that I made it, I'm one of the best in the world. That's what that means, that you've gotten that far. It's the Mecca. That's the ultimate goal for any bodybuilder, I would believe. Because I don't want to just become a pro and then do nothing with it. And I think that's why they now have changed it to, if you haven't competed in 3 years, your status drops, that you're no longer a pro. So, I think it's the short-term goal is to become a pro, and the long-term goal is to get on that big stage. So just at least once in my life. It doesn't have to be like consistent, to win obviously is like a huge ambition, and that's a huge sacrifice. But, would that be amazing? Of course. But just to get there would be a pinnacle for me, for sure. A marker of success to me, like I guess for an amateur, I feel like for most is like to win an overall, which I have yet to achieve. I have won first places, but I have yet to win an overall of a show. I would say that's like the first step. The next step would be winning your pro card. Next would be winning a pro show, because then once you get your pro show, you qualify for the Olympia, depending on the show, because now they also changed that. You might have to win 2 pro shows. And then getting to the Olympia, I would say, is the ultimate goal. But if you're really talking about like all bodybuilders, to win the Olympia would probably be the ultimate goal. Just to step on that stage. Because it would be right back to that feeling of when I first stepped on that stage of like, I belong here. This is what I was meant to do. This is what I live for. This is what I breathe. And yeah, it's just, that would be the ultimate goal for sure. I think it was just like, it feels like such a blur. But I remember just once I was on there, it went by so fast. But I just remember hitting my first pose and making eye contact with the head judge. And I felt like that biggest smile you ever got, it kind of like went back to when Everly was born and I made eye contact with her. It was kind of like a breath of fresh air. Like it didn't feel real. But then when you look back on it now, you're like, oh, to live in those, it's like a flash of every happy memory was in that moment. I would say, for sure. And I wish I still had the suit, and it sucks that I don't, because it's like a sentimental thing. Because before I went on stage, I believe it was for finals, my connector broke on the bottoms in the bathroom because I had to go to the bathroom. And luckily my teammate was in there, was like, help, my connector broke. And thank God she was able to like somehow finagle it and like squeeze it back. But yeah, I sent it back and somehow it got lost in the mail and I never got it back. And so I was like, like just to have it would be awesome. Like, cause I would have never sold it. I would just have it. And I remember what it looks like. I still have the pictures, and it's so weird to think about. I haven't thought about that in a long time. But yeah, it was not as good as when I held Everly for the first time, or when we finally made eye contact, or the first time she smiled. But it's like those moments just feels right. Feels good. For my path in regards to bodybuilding, I would say I see it is, I connected to the world and the way the world is going. And because bodybuilding is growing substantially, I want to bring my energy, my faith, and my love to the sport, to the pro level, because I feel like there are Christian bodybuilders, but I feel like there could be more. And I feel like there needs to be more humbleness when it comes to certain things. Like, obviously, I know there's going to be clickbait for everybody, and there's going to be controversy. That's just the way it is, because obviously people love a good controversy. But I would also like to bring in the energy of there can be love in the sport too, and friendships that are built forever. And I think people need to see more of the good, instead of just, oh, it's just roid rage, or oh, it's just this, or they're using synthol. Like, I think that's unfortunately what's glorifying the sport, instead of the faith behind it, or how much effort it really goes into it. And I think that's also why I'm trying to get back into filming with like a photographer there, and seeing what you go through. Like, I'm not scared to make ugly faces. I make ugly faces. That's how I know I'm pushing myself. And I think that's another part that people don't understand, is you really have to put in the energy and the time into your body and into your training, as well as eating, and eating right, not just eating to eat. And there's just so much more to it. And I wish people were more educated on it, especially for the women, because I feel like men are more open about it. And people look more to, like, Sebum was a huge mogul. It still is a huge mogul to the sport. And I feel like that's why a lot of people started following it and watching it. And then now, like Sam Solik or Larry Wheels, but you rarely hear about the women that bring, people to the sport. So I would like to be a part of that somehow. I'm still navigating how to get there, but first things first is I got to get my pro card, because no one's going to hear an amateur out, really, until they get their pro card, because they're like, what do you know? So first things first is always find a coach. Find a coach you trust. Find a coach you can communicate with. And be accepting in the fact that no matter what division you may want to do, it might not be genetically right for you. And just know it's nothing against you. It's just not the way you're built. And then save your money. Save up your money. It's going to be expensive. For sure. I would say that. Because like I said, the first piece of advice I always give is save your money. It's an expensive sport. What would I tell her? The thing I would tell her is don't give up, because there have been several times, and obviously I haven't. But I would say before I hit LA Champs, it's not you that they don't like. It's just someone came in better. And just keep your head up and know that it's not the end for you yet. Just keep going. Tell yourself exactly what you tell your daughter is, you did your best. Now let's go back to the drawing board and come back better. That's what I would tell her. And save your money. Forever save your money. My husband has done my tan every single show. He did my tan my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth show. So thankfully, I have a partner that did this 10 years ago, and then he did one, I think it's almost 2 years ago now. So he knew the sport. He loves the sport. I'm not saying it has to be someone that knows the sport in and out, but someone that can appreciate the sacrifice, someone that can understand you're not you in prep because you're hungry, you're tired, you want to go to bed, you may not want to go out. Like you can't go out. Like you can, but you don't want to. I think it's just someone who wants to be there for you and support, rather than someone that's going to be mad at you for not wanting to do the things they want to do. And being okay with having those boundaries of, we may not be able to, we might just cuddle tonight to not get too far into that depth, but like, I don't have the energy to do anything further than probably just cuddling, if that makes sense. I'm trying to keep it PG here, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of toll on your body, and men and women are different, because when Roy went through prep, he was more snappy, and he just forgot what it felt like to be in prep. So he now, especially after he went through prep, he understood me more. And when I was like, hey, we're not going to fight, I don't have the energy and I can't let my cortisol levels go up, he was like, okay. Like, it was always easier after this last prep. But I would say, if your coach is male, you have to be able and be comfortable to say, hey, it's that time of the month, so my weight might fluctuate, and they'll understand, hopefully. And I wish my parents knew more about it, because I can't really say my father has been a true advocate of it, because they don't understand it. They think I have an eating problem. So I think it's just being able to communicate with them and have them try to understand. But unless someone has truly been through it, it's really hard for them to understand. But at least be open to understanding, if that makes sense. I started in 2022, was my very first show, and then I did 2 shows in 2023, national show in 2024, which did not go well. And then my last show was last November in 2025, so I have done 5 shows, 4 regional, 1 national. The hardest show, I will say, for me in general, like even just the show, was nationals. Not because I brought my best and, you know, everybody else brought their best, which they did, but it was just bad for me because I almost passed out backstage. My blood sugar dropped. I was not ready. I was flat. I just wasn't ready. And it was ultimately, which caused me to learn that rest and recovery is so important, because I was only getting like 5 hours of sleep, which is not enough for muscle recovery. So my body was just stressed out, and it was just like, nope, it just gave out. In comparison to the feeling from my first show to national show, night and day, and every prep is different. And I would say my first prep was the hardest, but the most rewarding. The prep before nationals was the hardest, and it showed. Whereas the last show, it was definitely like a rebound of that. And I definitely brought a better package, but I still could have just came in just a little sharper, but I still came in significantly better. And I think it's because I had learned about rest and recovery, and then just trusted my coach so much better. And I was able to communicate with him on a different level than any other coach. Not saying any other coach is worse. It's just the connection wasn't there. And then just the competition was just next level. It was a different foundation or federation, excuse me. And so it just a different level. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. They treat your athletes a whole different way. Like, I got a goodie bag, and like the things you get when you win, it's just night and day. I'm not going to say names because I'm not trying to hurt myself in the future in case I do decide to go back to the other one. But yeah, it was just different. And now that we know what we have to do, again, it's just progress and come back better. But I will say, obviously, it's very easy to read my face. So like, yeah, I may be smiling, but you can see it in my eyes of the disappointment I had. Because obviously my goal was to take the overall of the show. That didn't happen. I took 2nd and 4th, which I've never been 4th before. So that was like a kicker. But, you know, again, it's just different. And it was in Vegas. And Vegas is one of the meccas of bodybuilding. So you're going against people that live and breathe bodybuilding in every gym you go into. So it's just different. But I loved it, and I learned from it, and I made more friends. I always make friends at every show. That's always that's always my fun part, is making friends and bringing friends. So yeah, I would say, even though there was disappointment because of the disappointment I had at LA Champs in 2023, and I thought that was it. I thought I was going to quit. And then I talked to a friend, and then I talked to Roy at the time, who wasn't my husband yet. And obviously, when you're hungry and you're depleted, it's much easier to be upset. And then once you get food, it's like, oh, I'm fine. So I think it's just I needed that loss to bring me back to, nope, you're not done yet. So, and I think the best champions have to lose first before they get that ultimate win. So my ultimate win is coming. It's just in his timing, not mine. So I'll be there soon. Obviously, your adrenaline gets there because you're like, oh, it's show day. And for girls, it's like once the makeup's on, it's like, okay, game on. Like you're all glammed up, and that's what most people want to see, is like the glitter, the glam. And then you put your suit on, do your check-ins, and then you're like, oh, the food's coming, the food's coming. But obviously not yet. You're still eating rice cakes and honey. I don't eat peanut butter. So almond butter. And then before finals is when I finally get like the candy bar. And I choose Sour Patch Kids because that's just my go-to. So, you know, you just, once you get there, you get backstage, you set up camp, and then you just wait for your time. And because I'm in one of the classes that's towards the end, my wait time is significantly longer than others, but it's not that bad. But yeah, it's just a lot of waiting and timing, for sure, because you have to time your food right, to time your pump right, and then you got to get glazed and touch up your tan if you do. But yeah, it's a lot of waiting, I would say, and timing. So constantly looking at the clock.
It's a lot of waiting, but how many seconds do you typically have on stage?
30 seconds, if that, you know, but then you have comparisons. So technically it is like your personal time of your routine, 15, 20 seconds. And then you stand on the sides, wait for everybody else in your class to go. Then they'll do comparisons. So you're really actually up there for like maybe 2-3 minutes, depending on how hard the competition is. I actually think this was the longest I was on stage. I think I was on stage for like 4 minutes because the competition was that good. So I think it really kind of comes down to, if your competition's good, you're up there longer, because then they're like, all right, how are we going to pick? Whereas if the competition is not so great, you're probably only up there for a minute. So I would say it kind of depends. I think it depends, like how your first show goes. Like if you want to do, like let's say you win your overall, right? And then there's a national show 2 weeks later, you're going to peak better at that national show. So why not just go do it? It also depends on your funds, because like I said, national shows are significantly more expensive. If you have the money to do a back-to-back show, do it if you place well at the first one. Because if you don't place well, there's no point in doing another show right after, because you're probably setting yourself up for failure, because you probably need either more growth somewhere, because you're not going to grow in prep. It's just the way you win a show is how you treat yourself and how you grow in off season. If you're doing your first show, you know, your coach will hopefully steer you in the right direction, won't let you step on stage looking awful, and then you go from there. I would say your first show, get that done, get your feedback, decide if you want to do it again, and then go back to the drawing board, get grow ready to grow, and then pick another show, and then plan on doing a national show or doing another show, if that is what you want. It really kind of depends on the person. Now going back to 2023, I did 8 weeks in between. Don't do anything more than 4 weeks, because your body will just give up. Because your body's like, we're hungry, we want food, refeed, something. But I would say no more than 4 weeks in between, and just make sure your funds are there and plan accordingly. But again, it really comes down to what's your ultimate goal. Find something that will kind of help you bring you back to earth when you're having those moments of, I can't do this. Have a strong support system, journal, yoga, meditate, prayer, worship. Find something that brings you back to you, because you will lose yourself and you could just give up. And don't compare yourself. That's the worst thing you can do. I did that. I'm guilty of it. And I learned that from multiple preps now is I avoid social media pertaining competitors that are doing the same show, because then you get in your mind of, oh my gosh, they're better than me. Their quads are better than mine. Their glutes are better than mine. You start going downward, and then you got to find that loophole of, nope, pull yourself out of it. Don't go down a wormhole, because you're just going to mess yourself up. So I would say find something that brings you back to you, even if it's sitting in a beautiful scenery like this and just staring off into space. Mine is journaling, reading the Bible, going to church, and I serve in the nursery, so just being around the babies helps. Talking with my husband and just taking walks with my daughter really helps. And trying not to snap is the hardest, which I will say because I'm so hungry. And being around her food. But, it's doable. There are Olympians that have 2 kids. So again, it comes down to a strong support system and an outlet for yourself other than the gym. So that's the only other tip I have.